The Raptors complete the trifecta. Most wins in franchise history, most home wins in a season, and for the first time ever, the Toronto Raptors will win the Eastern Conference and finish number 1 overall in the East.
Guarded by Ariza. Now if he's double teamed and he gets rid of the basketball, means you have numbers. Turn around and find the open man.
Leonard raises up. Nothing with the bottom. Ridiculous. To wow. Three on the three. Spurs by a deuce.
Or just come off and shoot it.
Harden. Blocked by Leonard. Nene. Blocked by Aldridge. Spurs basketball. Oh, what a play. Oh, what defense. Unbelievable. You want stops on demand, Sean?
Yes, I
you
do.
got him.
Just want to say welcome to the third episode of First Off the Bench. I am your host today, Moodz, and we got some huge to talk about. So, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have woken up, checked your Twitter, checked the score, and you've seen it. It's about time. San Antonio Spurs want to trade Kawhi Leonard. Everybody thought it was going to be the Lakers. Everybody thought it was going to be the Sixers. Or it could have been the Celtics. But nobody thought about the Raptors. And a lot of people are saying, yeah, well, the Raptors are getting a rental. Whatever the case may be. I'll touch upon that a bit later. So what we're going to talk about today is the trade that could possibly go down. It's pretty much just waiting to be finalized. And it's Kawhi Leonard for Demar Derozan as the main pieces. And that's between the Spurs and the Raptors. So, this is crazy. It's been an ongoing discussion for the past week or so. And realistically, I don't know if anybody thought that it was going to happen like that. I know Toronto teams, they kind of have a, let's say, a stepping stone or like a situation where basically like they're one of the teams in talk and it's just kind of speeding up the other process for like a realistic team. Like let's, for example, say the Lakers were be like, oh, okay, if the Raptors are close, then I guess we have to make an extra push and, maybe add in an extra young player or two or maybe a pick. And that, and then we'll win the trade when the intention was, yeah, you already had the best package. We kind of wanted a little bit more. So we're just going to say, we're going to call the Raptors, be like, hey, can we just throw your name around just, for trade rumors, circulations, and we'll post it up on Twitter, whatever the case may be. And yeah, and then, Lakers will probably give us a little something extra. And thank you for your services, Raptors. That's usually the type of franchise that Toronto Raptors are, or Toronto franchises are. Great example of that was like the Blue Jays with the Japanese pitcher that went to Texas. I can't think of his name, but he ended up getting traded, I believe, to the Cubs or no, the Dodgers, and then he wasn't that great on the Dodgers and. I'm not going out of my realm because that sounded hella ignorant and I'm not trying to do that. So, keeping it down to the simple science. Now, we're going to just discuss, is this really good for the Spurs? Is this good for the Raptors? What's the impact of all this happening? Because Kawhi was touted as probably one of the next best small forwards in the league, next to LeBron. The LeBron stopper. If you had Kawhi playing, you're stopping LeBron. Period. So, is this good for the Spurs? Trading off one of your biggest assets. So, it'll take a year before we understand what Kawhi is actually doing. So, if the trade, gets destroyed or halted or whatever, and Kawhi stays with the Spurs, it'll take us about a year to figure out, is he really staying with the Spurs? Have they convinced him to sign a long-term contract, especially with the amount of money that he would leave on the table if he didn't? Or, if the trade does happen, the Raptors, Toronto's a beautiful city. It's an amazing city. Nightlife is amazing. The fans are amazing. The commitment to basketball culture is amazing. You can't go wrong with being in a city like Toronto. So, would it take a year for us to find out where Kawhi would actually be going if this trade happens? So, if, for example, the trade does happen, how many pieces, Toronto gives up to San Antonio? Who's actually going to win in this trade? So, let's start off with the Spurs. Is this good for the Spurs? Yeah. I hate to say it, but it does look like it's at a point of no return in terms of the relationship between Kawhi and the San Antonio organization. It seems like it is a better move for them to say, you know what? Instead of having him walk, let's get something back in return. Let's get something back where teams actually believe they have a chance to be an actual contender. We'll move them. Get some young pieces. Some pieces that aren't probably playing too much. Maybe have become a little disgruntled. It's going to be hard to get pieces from a rebuilding team because usually when you draft, you end up drafting well. In some cases. So the thing with the Lakers is, they have a whole bunch of young talent. Even with the addition of LeBron James, Ingram's probably going to get relegated to the bench. Right? Or Kuzma. Depends who they want to slot at the 4. So it kind of doesn't make sense for the Lakers to be like, I'm going to give up all this talent because now we do have LeBron. We got cap space, right? And we have a whole bunch of young players, which then we hold the bird rights to. So in a sense, Spurs asking price was kind of hefty. So, obviously, they're not going to win on the Lakers front. But with the Raptors front, since they are a contender in the weak East, you only have to worry about really 76ers and the Celtics and Washington Wizards now. There's going to be a lot of people out in Milwaukee that are like, oh, well, what about the Bucks? They're not there yet. Sorry. So, Celtics, Philly, Wizards, Raptors. Those are the top 4 in the East, home court. So, with the Raptors contending, they have a few young pieces that they've accumulated throughout the draft, and a lot of the prospects are pretty damn good. So, like Poeltl, really good backup center. I'm pretty sure Pau Gasol is getting up to age. I have a feeling Pau Gasol might be included in this trade, but we don't know, so I'm not gonna jump the gun there. So let's say, Pau Gasol, he's a bit older. So basically what's happening is, if you end up picking up either a JV or a Poeltl, then you have somebody to keep the rotation going. So once Pau Gasol, jumps down to the bench just because, his body needs a rest, then you got the next man up, which could be Poeltl, which could be JV. In my opinion, it might be Poeltl. Or you have Pascal Siakam as a power forward. You cannot find me anybody who runs the fast break harder than Pascal Siakam. And when you're running a fast break where, you have your shooters going out to the line, which happens a lot in this modern day NBA, you have that one guy who just straight down the middle. You've opened up the options. Like, he's going full-fledged. You can either throw that Kevin Love, Wes Selden outlet pass, or you can basically be that point guard that kind of just waits for the trailer. You're looking at the 3-point artist. Everybody's starting to split the lane, and then boom, Pascal just runs down, and that's an easy 2. So you got him, and his defensive intensity is good, and it will improve. And I don't know if you guys seen the Drew League highlights that he was participating in. That kid has seriously worked on his game in this offseason. So super exciting to see. Hopefully he doesn't go to the Spurs, but if he goes to the Spurs, you got the legendary Popovich. So yeah. Then you got a couple point guards, You got Fred VanVleet, who the Raptors just signed, probably coveted for his toughness. You got DeLon Wright, 6'5", 6'6" point guard, very herky-jerky style. Great handles, great dribbling, can get to where he needs to go. If he's accompanying DeMar DeRozan, you have somebody who knows how he plays, which can help them both integrate better. I know they have DeJounte Murray in San Antonio, but it doesn't hurt. And then obviously with LaMarcus Aldridge, depends who's penetrating a bit more in Murray or Wright. Then you definitely have somebody who could kick it out to Powell, who can shoot, LaMarcus, who can shoot, DeMar, who's shown improvement in his outside shooting, but mid-range still deadly. And thinking about it, I haven't seen him shoot too many spot-up deuces, DeMar. So it would be cool to see what Popovich could draw up with him. But is this a win for the Spurs, especially with, Toronto kind of saying, okay, well, the East is weak. We're going to basically have an opportunity to really just climb head and shoulders over the competition. Let's probably take this chance. Let's go to the finals, and then whatever happens in the finals happens in the finals. So we could see. So basically, yeah, they're a winner. They're getting a long-term all-star in DeMar DeRozan, long-term in the sense of not injury-prone, good contract, I believe 3 years. You're getting somebody who is loyal. So he's not a team hopper. He's not somebody who disturbs. He's not somebody who will kick up a storm and then, the media is all over it. He's a very humble guy. Great locker room guy. Great personality. And you got a guy who consistently makes it to the All-Star team. So I think, with DeMar 1-to-1, Leonard is better skill-wise and talent-wise, but you're getting DeMar, and DeMar is a really good, reliable player that you can count on. He just needs that extra step in the playoffs. Then, all the other teams, no matter, even if this trade didn't happen, just thinking about it, all the other teams really would have had a shot anyways. If San Antonio started getting desperate. So even if San Antonio were to get desperate, I think the front office handles it pretty well. So I'd still think they'd be getting like a young player, a borderline all-star, maybe an all-star, and a pick or two, minimum on any team that would call. That would be interested in Kawhi. So that kind of solidifies the win for the Spurs. And then just one thing, it's overnight, I felt the rumblings, tuned into Twitter, saw the wash bomb, and I was just kind of like, okay, if the talk is picking up, I'm kind of hoping it's Kyle and not DeMar. Just because Kyle, he wanted to be a Spur, larger contract, right? San Antonio could get that nice point guard that they'd probably want, especially under Pop. And then you had Rudy Gay, who was the small forward. So it'll be interesting to see again, now that we know it's DeMar. It'll be interesting to see DeMar and Rudy again on the same team. Be kind of funny in a sense. I was joking around the office a bit, but, once this trade happens, and again, since we do know that it is DeMar, I do see Kyle kind of asking for a trade. And I think it'll only be a matter of time before Lowry is traded as well. One team could be a possibility. Might be the Hawks with Dennis Schroeder on the market. But I know they do have some pretty good point guards in Atlanta. So they'd have the cap space. It'd kind of help with the cap space. I know, we'd have to take on some salaries, so there'd be something there. But could be a possibility that Kyle will probably be asking for a trade sometime soon. Maybe within a week. Maybe before the trade deadline. And there it is. The trade is official. So I'm just reading the details right now. So it's official. We got Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green for Demar Derozan, Jakob, Poeltl, and a first-round pick. Wow. I'm happy. I'm a little happy. I'm a little confused. In my honest opinion, I mean, it's exactly everything I just said right now. In my honest opinion, I thought Spurs were going to ask for a bit more. I thought they were going to get OG. I was 95% convinced that OG or Siakam was going to be a part of the trade. That's insane. I got LBJ KB24 MJ23. Oh my god, that's an amazing deal. No Siakam or OG. Explicit, the Spurs in this trade. We'll paraphrase it. The Raptors took advantage of the Spurs in this trade. Let's see. Anything else? This is Escobar 13. This is on Real GM. Escobar 13 going all in as predicted. Like Poeltl. I like Poeltl. But if he has to go here, he has to go. Siakam is a better prospect anyways. Good job, Raptors. All right, it's good to hear. Rubio 9 guy on Real GM. I like it for the Spurs. Big Poeltl fan. Derozan is a solid replacement and the first. Better than what the Pacers got last year, considering the injury concerns around Kawhi and the weird uncle or Spurs feud over the last year. So, in my honest opinion, I think this is a win-win. Whether it be the Raptors actually, retaining Kawhi Leonard or not. Because it does give them a bit more flexibility. I thought they were going to take on a few more bigger contracts, but that's not bad. I thought they were going to lose one more extra pick. It's not bad. So, okay. Moving on. Anything else I see, I will definitely update you during this podcast. Wow. Okay. So, I answered it a tiny bit. Is this good for the Raptors? Yes and no. This is a 1-year push. So to try and see if they can get into the finals, is it possible now with Kawhi Leonard on the Raptors? And if he wants to play for the Raptors, yeah, I think we have a good chance of making it into the finals. It's one of those things that you kind of have to assess the competition of who you're going up against. And even though the 76ers are a great team, having a person like Kawhi defend you, it's not gonna matter if you're good or not. It's if you can break or maintain your composure. Kawhi will put players under stress, and that's why I have a feeling such as the 76ers in Ben Simmons or the Celtics in Tatum or Jaylen Brown. You're going to see a different type of defense now in the East. You're going to see a defense that's going to swarm you, be all over you, and pretty much strip you and head the other way. So these are things that, a lot of GMs do have to kind of consider, that it's not just about getting a star player, but it's about maintaining and emphasizing a culture. And Kawhi Leonard is that type of player that will do that. So after this year, if Kawhi doesn't sign, then, we have to kind of be prepared that, the Raptors will be in rebuild mode once again. But it's either that, you keep Kawhi, play out the season, go to the finals, see what happens in the finals, and pretty much part ways. Maybe a sign and trade, because now you have bird rights, so they can probably sign him for the contract that is still slightly less than what the Spurs could have offered, but still higher than what the Lakers can offer on a free agency. And then basically do a sign and trade, get some pieces back, and then kind of go from there and see what happens. You never know. Kawhi on Golden State next year. Would it surprise you? So, now, the cool thing is that if Masai can convince Kawhi to re-sign, then the Raptors have, good trade options in Ibaka and Lowry for next year to pick up some crucial pieces. Lowry's getting up there in age, and, not knowing what the dynamic of a Kyle Lowry and Kawhi Leonard could do together would be kind of concerning in a sense where, maybe sometimes it's best to kind of get a fresh approach, especially in your point guard duties. So that would be kind of cool to see if, Lowry would be next up on the block. Ibaka, with no question, I'd personally like to see on a different team. Just because not a one option, not a two option, struggle with the third option. And the fourth option seemed like, okay, could kind of hold it down. And even that was kind of wildly inconsistent. So, yeah, I'd personally like to see Ibaka on a different team. And then, now that we know that it's only Jakob Poeltl, and again, no knock against Jakob Poeltl, in my opinion, he's a beast. I see why the Spurs wanted him. I wish a lot of people up down in the States, because that's how I know y'all roll, down in the States. So if y'all could just see how Jakob Poeltl actually played coming off the bench, the energy that he brought, the physicality that he brought, the defense, fantastic. Putbacks, rebounding, fantastic. He's going to be a great piece for San Antonio and a piece Coach Popovich would love. So that's going to be awesome. So that's cool. OG staying. So he must have been definitely, you're not getting him. So I think OG starting up as our shooting guard. Kawhi Leonard will be our power forward. Sorry, I jumped the gun there. Small forward. Power forward, Ibaka probably to start the season by December, probably by January. You're looking at Siakam taking over. JV, thank goodness they kept JV because he needs a chance. He definitely needs a chance to sign. Wow, I'm sorry, I'm flustered. He definitely needs a chance to thrive. So that would be that's going to be really interesting to see what this team, what this team could be. Thinking about it, it does have me excited. Holy. OG's good defensively. Kawhi now is excellent defensively. If they can pass knowledge back and forth one way, realistically, wow, the wing defense is going to be insane. Then Ibaka in the middle, if he can give us anything defensively. Oof. Yeah, I'm saying, you know what, for the year, I'm saying, the Raptors are, it's good for the Raptors, it's good for the Spurs. I think both sides win. And I think that's what Masai is pretty decent at. He's pretty decent at getting trades done where both sides kind of say, okay, sure. I was trying to milk you a little bit, but okay, sure. So how does this impact the West? For San Antonio, I'm thinking it's going to be tough because there's some teams on the up and up. So let me see. I do want to see what's going on here. Let's in the meantime, we'll jump to the East. So how does this impact the East? Well, now you got a defensive squad. Like, this is the defensive squad that Toronto has been looking for. So that's crazy. I personally think Raptors should be top 2. Hopefully there's no injuries, anything like that happen. Hopefully Kawhi Leonard does play for the Raptors and doesn't get traded. Again, if that was the case, yeah, Raptors turn into a great defensive squad. They have good offense. JV's a really good offensive threat, and especially now since Nick Nurse is an offensive coach, being able to see him integrate JV more into the offense will be key. You have Kyle Lowry, good offensively, a little bit inconsistent. Kawhi Leonard, phenomenal, all-round player, great defensively, great offensively. And OG, who will be coming into his own. And seeing him play in the summer league, giving him more handles, more opportunity to actually be a part of the team or being a leader on the team. So that's actually good to see. I am really surprised we kept OG. I am dumbfounded. I am legitimately dumbfounded that we kept OG. Masai's a wizard. So, Eastern, you have the Atlanta Hawks. You're not going to see them relevant for a while. Chicago Bulls, I don't think so. Nets, Hornets, I don't think so. Miami Heat scrape by. Detroit Pistons scrape by. Knicks will make the playoffs. Celtics obviously are making the playoffs. Cleveland, I don't see making the playoffs, truthfully. Orlando, I see making the playoffs. Philly, I see making the playoffs. Pacers, of course. Wizards, Raptors, and Bucks. So what do we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I got 8. Yeah, I got 8 teams. Shoot, that was on point. So that was on point. So we got 8 teams. Celtics, Knicks, Magic, Sixers, Pacers, Wizards, Raptors, Bucks. Those are my forecasts for the East. Raptors, I'm seeing finish top 2. It'll be a run between the Celtics and the Raptors and the Sixers. I think those will be your top 3 there. Wizards 4th. Pacers 5th. 6th, Knicks. 7th, Bucks. 8th, Magic. Yeah, I'm rolling with that. So yeah, it's going to impact the East greatly because now you've just integrated another superstar into the East. And guess what? He's not on Cleveland. He's on the Raptors. So that's going to be interesting to see. So this definitely will play out as favorable for the Raptors for the first season of this trade. What happens after? Who knows? If Kawhi Leonard likes Toronto, which, again, Toronto is a beautiful city. I don't see why not. It's not that cold. It's the same damn weather as in New York, Detroit, Philly. It's the same. There's no igloos. There's no Eskimos. We don't carry heaters with us every time that we step outside. It's not that bad. Give it a rest. Plus, our summer's been bomb. So, let's see. Let's see what the Raptors can do. Now, how does this impact the West? So, the West all around is a tough conference. You got Utah, who's on the up and up, and I think they'll do some big things. I got Phoenix making the playoffs. I got the Lakers will definitely make the playoffs just because LeBron, as soon as you integrate LeBron onto a team, you're pretty much looking at 45 wins solidified. Oh, man, I don't know what the Pelicans are going to do. Kind of breaks my heart. Will they make the playoffs? Yeah, I think they'll make the playoffs. Anthony Davis is just that good. You have OKC. OKC should make the playoffs. Houston will make the playoffs. Timberwolves, yeah. Depends what happens with the whole Jimmy Butler saga and Cat saga, because I heard he was a little disgruntled. And Wiggins. Jesus, that franchise is falling apart. Get it together, man. You got the Nuggets, who I think should make the playoffs, will make the playoffs. You got Golden State, of course. If they don't make the playoffs, that'll be news for years. That'll be Boogie's fault. You got the Mavericks on the up and up. Playoffs, nah. It's a nice 1-3-5. So I mean, it's up in the air. I mean, you got Golden State, who I think will finish first. Houston, who will finish second. And then it's pretty much up in the air. Maybe the Lakers at third. And yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have zero idea, man. Will San Antonio be a part of that? I mean, you're looking at a pretty nice team now, right? You got Dejounte Murray. You got DeMar DeRozan. You got Pau Gasol, LaMarcus Aldridge. Probably going to slot Rudy Gay into the lineup to replace Kawhi Leonard, which, you know, probably work out. Then Manu Ginobili is still there. You got Davis Bertans, Jakob Poeltl. So not bad, actually. Is Lonnie Walker the fifth? I think he'll be a really good piece. So yeah, you have a pretty good squad. You got, you know, obviously your coach Greg Popovich, who has coachable players. Jakob Poeltl is not somebody who's going to command trouble, and DeMar DeRozan is a gym rat. So absolutely great squad in San Antonio, which has the possibility of sneaking into the playoffs. It'll be tough because, you know, they did sneak into the playoffs without Kawhi Leonard for majority of the season, so that's pretty damn good. And now they have an all-star, which will definitely play. So it's going to be interesting to see. I definitely see the clear advantage in the East right now, just because if we get Kawhi Leonard at the stage that he was at, that intense beast, no faults, you know, very few faults in his game, the mindset that you need for a good playoff battle, absolutely. Raptors, clear cut, awesome. West is going to be tough because the competition is tough. You've ended up, you know, losing one of the great players of our generation to the East. So at least now you don't have to face him, which I think was San Antonio's ultimate goal. And yeah, and then you kind of have a bit more of a full rounder squad, such as, you know, like having the Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan era where you know, not everybody is like that superstar, I demand the ball at all times, blah 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 type game. You're gonna see a more free flowing, more open, team oriented game, which will definitely benefit the San Antonio Spurs. So that's awesome. So we know that, you know, the trade has gone down. It has been finalized. So that's gonna be crazy. Now I have something to look forward. I was kind of a little bit down on the Golden State trade, just because, not trade, free agent acquisition. So yeah, I personally like what's going on now in the NBA. It's going to be interesting to see. So we have to kind of understand what type of player Kawhi Leonard is and what he does bring to the table. And it's just that back in the day defense, without fouling, without hurting, you know, that hustle. He is a high energy, high motor guy. And that's pretty damn good to have on a team, especially with, realistically, not too many players defend like that. You got Draymond here and there, right? But Kawhi's locked in every single play. every single play. So, yeah, if you guys get a chance, definitely go and watch some highlights, especially some defensive highlights with Kawhi Leonard, and you'll see the man doesn't quit on any play. Pure intensity. If he's on your star player, we're going to run the offense through somebody else type of player. That's the type of impact that he has. And usually when you put the ball in the hands of somebody else who's not used to it, there's going to be a bit more error. And with more error, you just capitalize, boom. Games will be won. What type of player is Demar, and what does he bring to the table? Well, think about it this way. Demar's your old school, one-on-one, get to the basket, put you in foul trouble type player. He's smooth. He has the ability to break down his defender. He has the ability to pass really well. And he has the ability to finish really well. Free throw shooting is really good. So, Demar, you're getting more of an old school player. So, it's like a trade for old school type players. And, yeah, with Demar, you're going to get somebody who's improving on his jump shot consistently and hopefully has developed that mindset that needs to eat what you kill. I said that with a smile on my face. Hopefully a lot of you understand. So that's the great thing about Kawhi. Kawhi already has that. DeMar could probably learn that from guys like Manu Ginobili or anybody who's been in that position that has won, especially Greg Popovich. So we know the Celtics, they will be a whole new team once Kyrie and Hayward comes back. But the quick question is, how do you feel like the sophomores would feel about playing against Kawhi, like Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum? Do you think that they would fold under pressure? I'll leave that question with you guys. And then Ben Simmons on the 76ers. 76ers, yeah, he's looked good. But now the East has a player that is the definition of defense. You look up defense in the Webster Dictionary, and there's not going to be words. It's going to be Kawhi's face. So will the 76ers, now that, they have a nice young team that's built for the future, do you think that they'll make a move to solidify their wing presence? Because JJ Redick, Covington, I don't think they could do it. And then if you have Kawhi, OG, Ibaka, focusing on quick lateral defense, switching, rotating, pretty much causing mayhem, will the 76ers need to refine what they are about? Because even though Ben Simmons is flashy as hell, you're not going to be trying that stuff near Kawhi. So, last topic I definitely want to touch upon in this podcast, and this may be a personal vendetta. Yes, it may be. As I'm browsing Twitter this morning, you get the whoosh bomb. Whoosh bomb. And you got this tool who has a little blue check mark beside his name, Chris Haynes, who wants to go and start reporting stuff like Kawhi doesn't want to play in Toronto. That's what league sources have told me. How do you know? How do you know? Because who are the league sources and really how credible are they? How do you know where Kawhi wants to play and where Kawhi doesn't want to play? Other than the fact that he said, my preferred destination is LA. Especially when stuff starts boiling up, starts coming up, things are percolating on the back end, right? And the big dubs lighting the end of the whoosh bomb, ready to drop the news. And you want to start posting stuff like that. So I just want to know, how credible are your sources? Because it seems like Kawhi hasn't really spoken to anybody, even about his injury and what was really going on. So it's kind of hard for me to, get a sense of what Kawhi is going around. I don't want to play for the Raptors. Not those guys. I don't want to play maybe the 76ers. I'll re-sign with them. So now these sources got a hold of Chatterbox Leonard all of a sudden, right? Now Kawhi Leonard's just talking. So I wonder, I just want to know, how do these rumors start? Who fuels them? Because it seems like Chris Haynes has no love for the team up north. Now, even if I was from the States, which I'm not, I still have this same rant. Because it doesn't matter if you're from Toronto, Canada, or if you're from the States. It doesn't matter. I mean, for the players it matters, taxes and, going through the border, security and all that stuff. Yeah, I get it. I understand. But you're just a dude on Twitter with a check mark beside your name. So it doesn't seem like Kawhi Leonard's really talking to anybody about anything. Maybe it could be people a part of his camp or his agency that are saying, probably not prefer to play in Toronto. And you're just like, Kawhi Leonard doesn't want to play for Toronto. So, cool, okay. So I just want to know, how do these rumors start? Who fuels them? And, this develops steam overnight around 3:30, 4 a.m. Eastern time. So I don't know why you're awake. Go to sleep. Do this stuff when you wake up. It sounds very amateur. So that's my little rant. Again, every team deserves a trade. Jeez, I'm reading at the same time. Every team deserves a chance to trade for a player of this magnitude, i.e. LeBron, i.e. Kawhi, i.e. Russell Westbrook. How it pans out is how it pans out. That's up to the GM to forecast that. So we'll see what happens. Congratulations to Kawhi Leonard. Huge congratulations to Demar Derozan. Huge shout out. If Demar Derozan ever listens to this podcast, hopefully he skips to the end because this is long as hell. But if he ever does listen to this podcast, I just want him to know that there are a lot of Toronto fans who are unhappy that this trade happened. There are a lot of Toronto fans who didn't want to see you go. And no matter what you do, you'll always have a home in Toronto. Because you played your heart out. You showed loyalty beyond any means. No other player has done that to Toronto. And you were there from day one when Chris Bosh left. And you had it. And you developed into the player that you are today. So, with that being said, Toronto will love you forever. I hope when you come back to Toronto, we give him all a standing ovation because truly deserves it. San Antonio, I kind of see how I be the opposite. I don't blame you. So, y'all can handle that. That'll be your little personal vendetta. But, DeMar will definitely and rightfully get standing ovations. Hopefully a tribute video and hopefully a jersey being retired in the stands once all is said and done. So I just want to say thank you for all of you guys who actually listened to this podcast. I know it ran a bit long, but I'm glad you guys tuned in. Let me know what you think of this trade. This is Moodz from First Off the Bench, and I just want to say thanks again and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.